What if I told you that for a glorious period, Egypt, the land of the pharaohs and pyramids, was ruled not by Egyptians, but by African kings from the south? And what if I told you that this incredible chapter of history was almost completely erased? Well, get ready, because today we're uncovering the powerful story of ancient Nubia and the 25th dynasty of Egypt. When most of us think of ancient civilizations along the Nile, our minds immediately go to Egypt. But just south of its border, in the region we now know as Sudan, another mighty civilization flourished for thousands of years. This was Nubia, with its powerful heartland, the Kingdom of Kush. The Nubians were not simply a lesser version of Egypt, or a civilization living in its shadow. They were a distinct and formidable power in their own right. They built bustling cities like Meroe and Napata, developed their own unique writing system, and commanded powerful armies that were feared and respected throughout the ancient world. They had their own rich culture, their own gods, and their own long line of royal blood. And here's the crucial part. While they shared a long and complex history with Egypt, trading with them, fighting against them, and sometimes even being colonized by them, they were never just an imitation. By the 8th century BC, a remarkable shift in power occurred. While the once mighty Egyptian empire was fracturing, weakened by internal conflict and rival warlords, Nubia was experiencing a golden age. It had become a unified, prosperous, and militarily superior force. The balance of power along the Nile was about to be turned on its head. Now, this is where the story gets truly astonishing. Seeing the land of their northern neighbors descend into chaos, the Nubian kings saw not an opportunity for destruction, but a calling for restoration. The king at the time, a brilliant and devout ruler named Piye, believed that the Egyptian gods themselves had chosen him to reunite and purify the sacred land of Egypt. He didn't see himself as a foreign invader, but as the rightful heir to the pharaonic tradition, destined to bring back order and map the Egyptian concept of truth, balance, and justice. So, around 744 BC, Piye and his formidable army marched north from their capital in Nubia. His campaign wasn't a simple smash and grab, it was a strategic, determined, and deeply religious mission. He systematically defeated the various rival Egyptian rulers who had carved up the country among themselves. He documented his victories on a massive granite slab known as the Victory Stele, detailing how he was welcomed by some cities and how he decisively conquered others. Finally, after securing the entire Nile Valley, Piye arrived in the great city of Memphis, the traditional capital of Egypt. He was crowned pharaoh, lord of the two lands, uniting the crowns of Egypt and Nubia. Just like that, in a move that would reshape the ancient world, Egypt was under the rule of a black African king from Nubia. This wasn't just a brief, temporary takeover. Piye's victory established the 25th dynasty of Egypt, a line of rulers often referred to by modern historians as the Black Pharaohs. For nearly a century, these Nubian kings ruled over a vast empire that stretched from deep within modern-day Sudan all the way to the Mediterranean Sea. They were not conquerors who imposed a foreign culture. Instead, they saw themselves as true preservers and revitalizers of Egyptian civilization. They embraced Egyptian religion with a passion, viewing themselves as champions of the god Ammon, whose cult was strong in both Nubia and Thebes. They initiated a massive building and restoration program across Egypt. Temples that had fallen into disrepair were meticulously restored to their former glory. They even revived the ancient tradition of pyramid building for their own burials back in Nubia, a practice that had been largely abandoned in Egypt for centuries. Rulers like Shabitko, and the famous Taharqa ruled with authority and vision. Taharqa, who is even mentioned in the Bible, presided over a period of great prosperity and is known for his extensive construction projects at Karnak and throughout his empire. They brought stability, enforced moral law, and for a brief, brilliant moment, created one of the largest empires the Nile Valley had ever seen, all under the rule of one Nubian crown. So, if this dynasty was so powerful, so significant, why is it that most of us never learned about it in school? Why isn't the story of the Black Pharaohs as famous as that of Tutankhamun or Cleopatra? The answer is a complex and frustrating tale of historical bias and deliberate erasure. When later foreign powers, First the Assyrians, and then the Persians and Greeks, took control of Egypt. They had a vested interest in downplaying the legacy of their Nubian predecessors, Egyptian. History was reframed to emphasize a purely Egyptian narrative. Centuries later, during the 19th and early 20th centuries, European archaeologists and historians brought their own racial biases to the study of ancient Egypt. They struggled to accept the idea that a black African civilization from the south could have conquered and ruled Egypt. They often categorized Nubian artifacts separately from Egyptian ones in museums, creating an artificial divide that obscured their shared history. Some even went so far as to argue that the Nubian rulers were not truly black, but were of a lighter-skinned, quasi-Egyptian lineage. Despite the clear depictions the Nubians left of themselves in their own art, but the evidence, carved in stone on temple walls and victory steles, is undeniable. The pyramids in Sudan stand as silent testaments to their power. For a critical period in history, black African kings from Nubia ruled as pharaohs, and Africa ruled Egypt, not the other way around. If this story surprised you, it really should. It is a powerful reminder that the history we are often taught is an incomplete and sometimes biased version of the past. The story of the Black Pharaohs is a testament to the power, sophistication, and incredible legacy of ancient African civilizations. And believe me, this story is just the beginning. There are so many more incredible chapters of African history that have been overlooked and forgotten. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.